We still got about 3 minutes before the market close. So as we're kind of going over the market and talking about what to expect the rest of the week, we should see what the closing price is. Let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for August 30th, 2022. Q's down 1.33% and SPY down 1.2%. Was initially gapping up almost 1% in the pre-market, but slowly started to give it back by the open, and then you can see once it opened, market sold off. Came into today bearish on the Qs and SPY. Didn't really see much reason to expect much of a bounce or a run up. We also talked about last Friday how we have room down on the Qs here to 300. And we got there today. So that's where the buy setup started here. The last run up back into this area. So back into support. SPY also just about. SPY looks like it has a little bit more room. But we're going to consider, 394. That SPY and Qs are both into some support. So the expectation then for the next couple days, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit of a move up tomorrow, maybe even another kind of narrow bar like we did yesterday, and then get a little bit of a bounce either into the afternoon or maybe into Thursday. And then we'll have to wait and see what kind of sell setup we get, okay, after that bounce. Now, if we just base down here, we don't get much of a bounce. That would probably be the most bearish scenario, okay? If we just continue to base down here, we don't get much of a reaction to that support, okay? Otherwise, I think what's more likely is we get a little bit of a bounce, and then we see what that sell setup looks like. If that sell setup on the hourly fails, if the hourly were to end this downtrend, that's kind of the earliest that we would start talking about, okay, what kind of bounce could we get in the market? When can we be bullish on the market? Because as of right now, everything's still in a downtrend. Hourly, daily, just failed on the uptrend, and then weekly, still in a downtrend. And then monthly, still looking lower below the 20 MA. So we do have time frame alignment across the board here on the Qs, and so we're going to stay bearish. It's just that we've had quite a big move already. We are extended away from the 20 MA, so that's why I'm expecting maybe a little bit of a bounce tomorrow or the next day, and that'll give us the hourly sell setup that we're looking for. Okay, we're about to close here in about 15 seconds, so don't expect market to look too different here by the time it closes. All right, so going into tomorrow, overall bearish, okay, but we are extended, okay, so market has gotten to the support. All right, let's get into the plays from today. Started off with the NAT. The NAT was just really a kind of a base breakdown. Could have played it as a level 2 and a chart play. So I did it as both. I did a portion of it as a scalp and then a portion as a level 2 as a chart play. So I kind of just left the stop in. The chart play only got to about an R and then failed. And then the scalp was fine. The scalp, as long as you didn't you didn't act on sometimes the bid would get strong, or when it would drop, it would show a really strong bid. But as long as the offer didn't get taken out, it was okay. So on the NAT, that was something I saw early on and noticed it kept dropping. So then on the scalp, kind of expected that. So the scalp was okay, but the chart play ended up moving all the way back up, taking out that base, and then closing more or less kind of a little bit below the entry. So had a strong reversal. I think on this one, maybe could have stuck with this just as a scalp because it was coming into some support. But I did like the shock value of the gap and the fact that it was breaking the uptrend on the daily. So that's why I was hoping for more on the NAT. So not a big play on the NAT just because the scalp worked, but then as a chart play, never got that far. And then the next play was the FFIE, which if you got in the morning, I did not, was pretty good. I couldn't get filled on it in the morning. Didn't get it until this last break here on the FFIE. So scalp on the FFIE, which wasn't, I think, available on TOS just as of last week, and then became available. So that's good now, because this one often gives setups and has some nice level 2 plays. Okay, so we can drill down a little bit here and just see. So it'll give you some nice bases here. It was right at the low of the day there, and then gave a nice drop. Oh yeah, and I remember I got out right before that last drop, but then it dropped one more time and flipped. That's not uncommon for stuff to do that though. On the FFIE, and then the Fray was the last play for me, which didn't work. So the Fray showing a lot of relative strength today. Was basing nicely at a 15-minute base, was waiting for this 20 MA to catch up at least to the stop, and then it kind of did right as it was triggering, which was fine. Wasn't up much, and then came in and didn't really work. So yeah, a little bit disappointing to kind of finish the day off like that, but overall it was kind of a slow day. And so, you know, I don't think overall there was that much to do. A couple scalps here and there, and then I don't really have a problem with the Fray. I mean, I like the gap. I like the relative strength a lot. The setup is okay. I think maybe the setup is still, I would have liked to have seen a little bit of a tighter stop, and the 20 MA spend a little bit more time basing so that the 20 MA can catch up. But I thought it was still worth a shot. So Fray didn't work. All right. So we are into the kind of very end of earnings season. There's a few retailers reporting, I think, tomorrow morning, and I think HPE, HPQ tonight, but we're pretty much out of earnings season. So kind of expecting things to kind of slow down a little bit. It'll depend on what the market, how much the market is moving, really how many scalps I think we get, and how many gaps we get as well. Okay. All right. Hope you had a nice day today. We'll be back at it tomorrow, and I will talk to you then. Have a good evening.